we have this Mustang here, Mustang V6, that was throwing a lot of codes, and we had an issue with the internal torque calculation error. And here's the engine. So we started replacing some of the parts in here. So the first thing we replaced was the TP sensor. That one was replaced. The second part that was replaced was the whole throttle body assembly. Made no difference whatsoever. Then we thought that the issue might be the crankshaft position sensor, which is down here. So we replaced the crankshaft position sensor. Didn't help at all. Then we thought that there might be a problem with the hose here, or with the lid here on the fuel, on the air filter, because we had an idea that there might be an issue with the diameter of the intake manifold thingy here, and that might throw the computer off course. So we replaced the hose, we replaced the lid here, and while we're at it, we also replaced the muff sensor. So that didn't change anything. It's still through the code, like 200 meters out from the shop. Then we replaced the PCM module, to no avail. Still through the codes, just like before. We actually didn't even manage to get the car out of the shop before it threw the code. Then we took out the engine harness and we split it open to check for faults. We didn't find any faults. Then we replaced the 3 sensors on the transmission. There are 3 speed sensors on the transmission, and those were replaced, and it didn't help at all. Then we replaced the ignition coil, the wire harness, and the spark plugs. It helped us with a small issue, but it didn't help us in the long run. Then we tried running the car without the alternator, because we had an idea that the alternator might cause interference with the wiring or something. So we ran the alternator disconnected, and it didn't help at all. Then we had an idea that there might be a problem with the AC compressor, because the AC compressor might drag, put some extra drag on the engine, and that might cause an issue. So we disconnected the wiring for the the wiring for the field. So we had almost given up, and then we got a tip that we might want to change the EGR module, because this module actually has got a MAP sensor and a solenoid and the EGR unit itself built into the whole assembly. This unit didn't produce any fault codes at all, but we tried it, and the car actually runs now. So instead of throwing a code after a couple of 100 meters like it did before, we actually drove it for 20 or 30 kilometers, and it runs great. And we will give the car back to its customer today.